Hello, friends. This is Eric, the Mind Control Guy. I just looked up Coast to Coast AM from a show a few nights ago where the delightful Miss Connie Willis was on there. Even though they spelled my name wrong, they got it right. Actually, my name was spelled Erik. Calling from Indiana, latest story.
Again, I'm not sure, but I think that's what that means, which is a bummer because I checked my numbers and they are not. I didn't even get one. I got kind of close, but I didn't get one. Anyway, let's go to open lines. Let's talk to Eric out of wildcard line number 5. You're trucking in Indiana in the Hoosier state, hey?
Connie!
Hey.
This is Eric, the Mind Control Guy. How's everybody doing tonight?
You feeling good? You doing all right? Did you win the lotto? Did you think you get the Mega Millions numbers? What's going on?
Oh, no, I let the wife take care of that.
Nice.
But anyway, the reason I called, sweetie, on these wild summer nights, I had an event happen quite a number of years ago, and I didn't know if maybe the same kind of thing ever happened to you or any of the listeners out there listening right now. But I was talking to a feller many years ago who himself was a fellow mind control survivor who used to be around the realm of intelligence, who knew a lot of things about a lot of things. And he was telling me a story about out in Nevada, they have these unconventional flying vessels that fly in the clouds, and the reason you know if you're around one, the exhaust comes out the bottom like a not like a tornado, but like a column cloud, a column twister. And I'm like, okay, I'll keep that in my mind. Well, one day many years ago, I was out going across Highway 50 in the Nevada desert, and I saw 3 of them out there. And so I always kept these little throwaway cameras with me, and there was nobody else on the road except me. And so I slowed down, and I was able to take a few pictures. And then later on, I forgot about it and just put it back on my dash. And I had a box full of all these rolls of film and throwaways. And being that I used to be on the road so much, I never really got around to getting them developed. But I had talked about this on the phone, that I had these pictures. And I had them in a Kodak box, and I had them up in my closet. And years later, one day I went to go get them to try and get them developed, and the whole box was gone. And it really made me irritated because I had a very dear friend of mine who had passed on, and I had her picture in one of those throwaway cameras, and I said this on the phone. And I said, I don't really care about all those other pictures. I just wish you hadn't, taken my pictures of my friend Don. Well, within a week or so, I got home from work, and sitting on my dresser was one of the throwaway cameras, and I went and got them developed, and there was the pictures of my friend who had passed on, but all the other pictures were gone. And I didn't know if when you was out Bigfoot hunting or your friends or anybody out taking and happened to get pictures or film footage or video footage of some unusual stuff like Bigfoot, lights in the sky, or anybody else listening. And after you did that and you put them away, once you went to go find your footage, all of a sudden it disappeared. Have you ever had that happen to you?
Yeah, I actually have had that happen to me. And I know a lot of people as well. So that's really interesting. First of all, the story of what you took, and then the fact that, you wanted to get that picture back too. And you got the picture back of her, right?
Yes, that was the only film that was
amazing.
On my dresser when I got home.
Somebody's listening to you for sure, right?
Oh, people like this, they always listen. I don't know who exactly they are, but they always listen.
Yeah, well, and I had something similar to that with a video camera, and I caught something. I'm going to be very generic about it, but I caught something, and I had just put up the video cameras in order, and this was all pretty new technology at the time when this happened. And I got video of something. I knew I got it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I got it!" But I had just got the equipment, so I had to call somebody, with support in a whole nother state than where I was in Florida at the time. I got somebody in a whole nother state, Tennessee, and I was asking, "Hey, okay, I just got these, just put them up. I talked to you all yesterday. How do I pull the video out of this?" And as the guy was telling me, there was this, it was in the middle of the day. It was like noonish or something, 11 a.m. or something like that. And something, I kid you not, like came from the sky and like zapped it like lightning, and everything in the house went out. Middle of the day, I told that guy, he goes, "What was that?" He even had it affect him where he was. And he showed me how to pull the video out. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I don't know." I said, "But I got to go check around for the box outside and, maybe push some buttons right there and turn everything back on." And I said, "Would you go with me? I know it's in the middle of the day here, but please, would you stay on the phone with me?" He was like, "Yeah." Nobody was around. Nothing was around. But something had zapped, like a frequency came down or something, zapped everything. And when I got back in, I said, "I guess I'm okay." I said, "Can you tell me how to pull out this video?" And he looked at it, and the video had gone away. And he's in Tennessee, playing with the back end of this whole video system that's set up at my place. And he saw that it blew out. It was gone. It was gone. There was actually a little piece of the video where it started and then it stopped. And so I've seen that.
Oh, yeah, it's really unnerving knowing that they had tracked me down and they were actually in my apartment.
Oh yeah, wow. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, they're closer than Santa Claus watching you. So when you say mind-controlled survivor, what are you talking, like super soldier kind of guy, or what?
No, when I was in the service, years after the legendary MK Ultra shut down, they had ramped up another one. It was called the Mind-Altering Research Study, where they were trying to develop all these different techniques. And us being, troops, we were expendable. And we always used to hear that from our first sergeant. Everybody's expendable. And they would do all these just horrific tests on us. But they were so good for years developing their technology that after every incident, they could wipe out our memory. We'd have no memory of it. And what happened was, during the time it was going on, I didn't know it was going on. Years later, I started having flashbacks, just horrible, horrible nightmares and memories. And then I started meeting people who remembered me from those days. And then I started seeing people that weren't from the area, and I had a really unnerved feeling, and people just kept watching me. I mean, when this all started coming back in 2004, 20 years after it all began, I was probably the most paranoid guy you'd ever saw. It was just like Mel Gibson from Conspiracy Theory, where he was just paranoid about everything, and he had good reason to, because his inner senses knew that, hey, you're being watched. And that's what happened to me. I was being watched, I was being followed, and some of these guys just made themselves too obvious. And like I said, I had met 3 people years after I got out. There's no possible way they could have known who I was, because let's face it, we all get older, we all change our looks. And there were 2 former Air Force intelligence personnel and a retired Green Beret colonel, and they remembered who I was. I'm like, now how did this happen? And then when I started running up on people who were former special forces, who was a security personnel, or former military intelligence, and I started telling them these stories, they started verifying what I was saying. And that was just like, wow. I mean, finding out that all these horrific things happened to you without your knowledge, and you had no idea of it. And then you start to remember, and you talk to people who are in the know about things, and they're verifying what you're saying. because the ones that didn't survive, either they ended up brain fried in testing or they died in testing, and their families were told fairy tales about what happened. And these people that you met years later verify what you're saying. That's something that they make these scary movies about.
So, Eric, you got to contact me at Connie at ConnieWillis.com so I can bring you in on a show, and we'll talk to you for a little longer. So we'll bring some other people in here on open lines, but make sure you get a hold of me, because that sounds like we can get some really good information from you. It's interesting because when you have these things occur and then later you get a new gig, think about your gig now. You're driving a truck. And so when that happens, a lot of times you're on these lonely roads, wide open roads where you see the lights and they can easily just pop you back up. And, you know, you're still in that program of some sort, right? They probably know you. They probably are doing stuff like that. And you can forget it. Or maybe they're a little lazy and you remember it. Or just the fact that that PSTD thing does occur. And maybe George Deuceman can take that away. You'll have to see if he can do that. I don't know. I think he might be able to with his 4-minute miracle or the CTT. Interesting stuff. Mind control survivor. I think that was the first time I've heard that, even though I've heard the stories many times. That's interesting. Really interesting. Okay, well.